Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and we are finally back with the Chick-fil-A Cup Series Season number 8. We are here at the Kansas Speedway for race number 12 in Season number 8 of the NOFSRL Chick-fil-A Cup Series. This is the Code 3 Associates 400. 54 laps of action here today around this 1.5 mile speedway in Kansas City, Kansas, and we're going to have a very interesting race here today. Been seeing with a lot of testing, these guys slide up through the corners quite a bit. So what is the key to avoiding sliding through the corners and getting the race victory here today?
Well, the big thing comes down to how are you able to manage your tires in the longer runs. If you're able to make it stick on that bottom line by conserving your tires in the early parts of the run, you will be able to gain throughout this race. And I believe you want to mention something about the pit stops as well.
We tried to do this race. I tried recording this race a couple of weeks ago, and we had a bad problem with pit stops. I mean, not really a bad problem, but a problem that I just want to completely avoid. So there will be no pit stops in the next two races here of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. This race and next week at North Wilkesboro. Of course, North Wilkesboro is for a different reason, but here at Kansas, we just won a great race today, so we're going to completely take out the pit stops, which is going to make it harder for those guys in the back to move their way up front in this race. However, still anybody's game here. We will see quite a bit of passing here today at the Kansas Speedway, and it's going to be an interesting race. First race in 3 weeks for these guys. Last time we raced in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series was at Dover, and that was won by Nathan Baird. Nathan Baird's the first driver to win multiple races this season, and with that, he moved himself up to third in the points, but the points leader is now John Andrews in the 04. Mark Davidson had been the points leader for the longest time, but he finally slipped away as John Andrews has been one of the hottest guys in this series as of late. 328 points towards the championship for him. Emily Anderson and Nathan Baird are tied for second. Nathan Baird's actually with the tiebreaker, so he is officially in second in the point standings. They are both 7 points behind. Mark Davidson is 17 points behind, and Sebastian Kukulon 37 points behind coming into this event here today. It's Roger Ray in the number 24 starting on the pole position. And alongside him, it's number 75, Daniel McMillan, a couple of veterans there on the front row. One of them still going for his first career Chick-fil-A Cup Series victory on a team who is looking for their first ever Chick-fil-A Cup Series victory in Zidell Motorsports. Row number 2 sees a couple of veterans as well. It's Garrett Sinor, 8-season veteran alongside Justin Roberts, who won about a month ago at Richmond in row number 2. Mitchell Henderson's alongside Silas Orta, a couple of rookies there in row number 3. Nathan Stapleton starting alongside Emily Anderson. Anderson with a good chance at taking the points lead at the end of the day. And uncharted driver Daniel Voiles alongside the 81 of Ace Garcia rounding out the top 10 starting positions. I'm going to ask you, Luke, what do you expect in this race here today? We don't have any pit stops. These guys are going to be going really fast, and the tire wear will come into play near the end of the race.
I think the earliest part of the run we're going to see lots of passing, 2 wide, 3 wide, but then it's going to kind of fizzle out as we get into the later stage. But we'll still see passing, obviously, in the later going up this race. It just won't be as frequent. It's going to come down to who saved their tires for that very last gas. But here we go, ready to see the green flag.
Pace car's going to pull off. Roger Ray and Daniel McMillan on the front row. Garrett Sinor and Justin Roberts behind him as well. A lot of great guys up front. We'll see who gets it done. We're green flag at Kansas. Lap 1 led by Roger Ray and the number 24. They're side by side for second between Garrett Sinor and Daniel McMillan. McMillan trying to work the outside lane. We saw that happen quite a bit in the IndyCar race yesterday. We'll have to see what these stock cars do on that outside lane. They go a lot slower in these stock cars than they did yesterday in the IndyCars, so a little bit of a different race we're going to see here today than what we saw yesterday, but Going to still be interesting. McMillan on the outside of Mitchell Henderson. He's not been able to find the inside yet. It's still Roger Ray out front. He's got a bonus point for leading a lap here at Kansas.
A little bit concerned about that inside line. That was not a very good sign on lap 1. That's normally where we see the line deteriorate as this race goes through whenever the tire wear progresses. So definitely something I'm going to be watching out for as this race progresses.
It'll be interesting to see how these guys fare here today on this slightly worn-out racetrack. As you can tell, it's an older version of the Kansas Speedway, not the newly repaved version from 2012. So gonna really eat up those tires quite a bit, and that's definitely gonna come into play as this race goes along. Garrettson North, a really good corner. He might find a way around the 24, or we might actually have a caution. Lucas Jacobson with heavy damage in the 64. Cody Sills, Zachary DeLello, and I think Jonathan Skimnicki involved as well. First caution of the day, lap 4 of 54 here at Kansas.
That looked like it was a turn 2 incident. Look at that damage, though, to the Adidas 64.
Tough break for the rookie driver. Martinsville winner. Jonathan Skimnicki involved as well. Cody Sill been having a really tough season in that number 37. And then you got Zachary DeLello, an uncharted guy, involved in this as well. Looks like those were the only guys involved. Brad Stover is coming down the pit lane. I'm not entirely sure why. He might have gotten a piece of it as well, but everybody else is staying out. As expected, we should be able to make this whole race on the tank of gas that they currently have. So Roger Ray leads the field in the number 24. Let's see what happened to bring up the first caution of the day here in the Code 3 Associates 400 at Kansas. They were 3 wide through turn 2. Lucas Jacobson up on Zachary DeLello, and Cody Sill had nowhere to go. The 67 just getting into the 64 slightly and shooting up the racetrack into the outside wall. And the force just flipped that 64 around. Cody Sill getting into Jonathan Skimnicki, an innocent victim here, but they were mainly the only 4 guys involved in this accident. Skimnicki should easily be able to continue. Miller got a piece of it. Alonso avoids it. And then Stover ran into the 37 rather significantly, and that's why he came down the pit lane. But the big one right here is Lucas Jacobson in the 64, who actually drove away after this, even though he flipped violently upside down the backstretch.
Washing up in turn 2, something we were talking about a little bit in pre-race, and that little bit of contact is enough to start a major wreck. And this is a very long slide for the 64. Doesn't get back on his wheels until he digs into the grass right here. That's a violent way to go back on his wheels as well. Good overall for everybody involved, but especially the 64.
Yeah, it's probably going to end Jacobson's day. Imagine Cody Sill might be done as well on the 37. Depends on how much front-end damage he has. Actually, it looks like the front-end's pretty good on that machine, but Zach DeLello's got some front-end damage, and I wouldn't expect him to continue. Not many guys involved, which is good, and we're going to have a single-file restart, and I love those things because we kind of avoid those kinds of accidents from happening, at least for a longer period of time, with a single-file restart. So let's go ahead and see what happens to bring out, or let's go ahead and see what happens on the restart, because we already saw what happened to bring out the caution. Hopefully that's the only one of the day. Let's get to the restart here at Kansas. We're back here at the Kansas Speedway. Roger Ray is still the leader here. He has led every lap so far here in the Code 3 Associates 400. However, he's going to have to fare off Garrett Zenor, Mitchell Henderson, Nathan Stapleton, and Daniel Voiles on this restart. They're all right behind him. Daniel McMillan runs 6th. Justin Roberts, Carter Friesen, Fisher G, and Ace Garcia, the top 10 here today. At least right now, because we're not finished with the race yet, but we'll see what happens in these next 47 laps. Roger Ray up front. Let's see what he does here. Got a great jump there on Garrett Zenor. He's going to pull away slightly from the 16.
Side by side for second place and for the 5th position as they head into turn number 1. Looks like the 25 gonna try and push up a little bit, won't have the momentum on exit. They're still side by side off turn 2. Roger Ray is scooting away into 24. He has a 5 car length advantage entering turn 3.
Great job by the Zidell Motorsports driver of Roger Ray. Great job by Garrett Zenor utilizing the outside lane. He should be able to clear Mitchell Henderson and remain in the 2nd position. But watch out for Mitchell Henderson. Last time he commentated a race with me, his teammate won at Phoenix. That was Patrick Smith a couple months ago. He's going to slide up the outside, and Stapleton's going to clear for the third position. Well, not going to clear quite yet, but he's going to get some help there from McMillan and clear him before he enters turn number 3. Well, not quite. Henderson with the run on the outside, and that outside lane's working pretty well entering turn number 3, getting the run through the corner.
It's like the inside line just keeps kind of bogging out there on entry. Not really sure what the deal is. Still side by side entering 1. We'll see if Henderson's going to be able to maintain beside him. Doesn't look like he'll be able to do that, though. And that should be the end of that battle.
Stapleton clears for third. Great run for the American Motorsports driver who has had an extremely tough season coming to this point, but with the break, kind of a new leaf for all these guys, including Nathan Stapleton, who's trying to get his second career Chick-fil-A Cup Series race victory. Garrett Zenor is going for his 7th, I think. Yeah, he's going for his 7th career Chick-fil-A Cup Series victory. All 6 of the victories he has in the series came prior to Season 5. So Seasons 1 through 4, he was victorious. Since then, he has not won in this series. But he is going for that race win. He's been very consistent as of late. He's top 10 in the points coming into this thing, 8th in the points as a matter of fact. And he is closing in on race leader Roger Ray, who has led the first 11 laps in this race. But don't expect him to stay there the entire race, because here at Kansas, you can make a pass rather easily if you do it right. And we're going to see it happen at some point throughout this event.
Garrett Zenor, I worked with him for a season in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series Season 6 as an owner. He was the driver of the 6th team during that period, and there were so many races where I felt like he was in perfect position to win, just could not finish the deal. So many unfortunate circumstances happened to him. Here he is going for a lead. Today could be his day, however.
Yeah, one race in particular I remember very well, and Daniel McMillan's going to remember this one very well as well, because it's his first career Chick-fil-A Cup Series win. Garrett Zenor dominated the event. A late caution came out, and the caution actually ended the race. And Garrett Zenor came down the pit lane under that caution. McMillan stayed out, and McMillan inherited the race victory. And at that point, you could almost just sense that Garrett Zenor might be losing a little bit. But this season has been a resurgence for that number 16 in Garrett Zenor. And he is currently leading the field here at Kansas. Got a bonus point towards the championship for leading that lap. Nathan Stapleton's right behind him. And he is running in the second position right now. Like I said, he's had a very tough season up to this point, but he'd love to get a race victory. And he commentated the IndyCar race yesterday, so maybe he's got a little bit of an edge on these guys because he saw what happened with those IndyCar guys. Might be using that to his advantage here today at Kansas. He's starting to close in a little bit on Garrett Zenor for the race lead. He's not going to get to the inside of him quite yet, but he's going to open the door to the inside. Not going to get it quite yet. Zenor's going to remain out front on lap 15.
We're getting to the point of the race where it's starting to become much, much tougher to pass. We're single file throughout the front portion of this field, so losing that inside line is going to be fatal for a lot of these drivers. You do not want to fall back because that's a long way before you find a hole in the bottom. We'll see if there's some separation. They're creating a back-to-back.
What a move right there, and it was right by the pace car, so he kind of missed it, but Stapleton to the inside, and Roger Ray going to take a 3 wide for the race lead on lap 16, but Stapleton might have the advantage. We've been seeing that outside lane work rather well through turns 3 and 4. Look at this. Oh, boy. Stapleton had to check up just a little bit, and Roger Ray's going to take the race lead, and Zenor is stuck 3 wide on the outside as Voiles gets in between him and Mitchell Henderson.
Zenor just needs to get behind a 31 here, but he's still going to be fighting on that top side. I don't really like the looks of this.
Ooh, boy, that was a tight one there between Voiles and Henderson. Zenor will file back in double wide, but he's got Patrick Smith and Carter Friesen to his inside. And here comes the 38 of Justin Roberts as well, also on the inside lane looking to move his way up. Here comes Texas winner Andrew Ross, got that win after they came down the pit lane near the end of that thing. Fuel strategy came into play there. That won't be the case here today, but he is knocking on the door on a top 10 run right now, and we'll have to see if he has any shot on our race leaders. Stapleton getting in the Roger Ray for the race lead, almost spinning him around, but he's got the advantage, and he's going to take it away on lap 18 from the 24. Here comes Mitchell Henderson. That is for the second position on Roger Ray.
Oh, we know for a fact the 24 isn't going to appreciate that, but look at the 28 wide in the corner.
He will get a bonus point right here. That might be the first lap led for Nathan Stapleton all season in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Going to have to check and score 4 for that, but a great run there for Nathan Stapleton. Got to the inside of Roger Ray, have thankfully avoided a major accident, but like you said, Roger Ray might not be too happy after that one because a bit of aggressive driving there by the sophomore driver. Daniel McMillan to the inside of Roger Ray for third. Garrett Sonora found his way back to the inside, and look out for Carter Friesen. He's the only guy on the Full Frontal Motorsports team that's yet to win this season. His two teammates, Wyatt Quayle, Diego Yepes, both won early in the season. Friesen's kind of been left out in the 68. But he's top 5 right now, and it's kind of hard to win the race if you're not inside the top 10 starting here at Kansas. So Carter Friesen in a good position right now, looking to get this race victory. But Garrett Sonora to the inside of him, he's going to take the 5th position away on lap 20.
Know that feeling Carter Friesen has. Why am I not sitting in victory lane yet this season? I've had that feeling as a driver before, where your teammates are having great success and you're really not doing much. Perhaps this is the day where everything changes for the 68. He finds himself a win, and he'll be able to move on looking ahead to the rest of the season with a victory.
Yeah, he definitely wants to get that victory and make it so that all 3 drivers from William Brock's team have a W next to their name in 2019. But Nathan Stapleton, talk about a guy who's definitely looking for a rebound. Running up front right now, he's led the past few laps, and a race victory for this guy would mean quite a bit. It's been a while since he's won a race on Napa Fan. As a matter of fact, I think his last Napa Fan win was his Chick-fil-A Cup Series win last year. And he definitely wants to go back to victory lane. But like we said, you know, with Garrett Sonora, it's been a long time for him. Roger Ray's going for his first ever Chick-fil-A Cup Series victory. And then Carter Friesen, we mentioned him earlier as well. He's the only guy on his team who's yet to get a race victory. So a lot of motivation, and a lot of these guys running top 10 right now to get the race win here today. We'll have to see which one of them can get it, if it's going to be any of those guys, or maybe someone like Patrick Smith getting their second win of the season. Back to the inside, Patrick Smith's teammate, Mitchell Henderson. He's got the advantage on Nathan Stapleton, looking to become the 4th different leader of this race. We're not even halfway through this one yet at Kansas, but Mitchell Henderson's looking pretty strong, and he's going to get the lap lead at 23 for a bonus point right there. But watch out for Daniel McMillan, looking to the inside of Henderson. He's not going to get it quite yet, but he's going to get to the inside of Nathan Stapleton for the 2nd position and take that position away. But Roger Ray's here on the inside, and he's going to take second back from the 75. Nope. McMillan will clear entering turn number 3. Mitchell Henderson clear to the race lead.
Amazed at how much drag is created every once in a while when we're running side by side into the corner. It doesn't happen all the time, but every once in a blue moon, you'll just see guys run side by side, and that creates 2-3 car lengths of time lost. And that's what we saw for the battle for the lead a couple laps ago. Ended up bunching up a bunch of different guys, catching them all up back to the leaders. And now here we are, single file inside the top 6 once again.
And that will allow these guys to close right back in on the race leader. You're right about these guys going side by side. So much drag is created because of that. If you got somebody single file ahead of you, they're going to pull away. And that's the thing about Kansas. If you get in a single file line, you're going to close right back in. But if you're double wide, you're going to lose a lot of ground. We mentioned Carter Friesen being the only guy on his team yet to win this season. Well, the same can be said for Nathan Stapleton. Both Justin Roberts and Josh Marzak, his 2 teammates in American Motorsports, have won races so far this season. Stapleton's yet to get one. He fell back to 5th, but he's on the inside lane here. Roger Ray currently runs 3rd, Patrick Smith is 4th, and it's Justin Roberts, Carter Friesen, Garrett Sonora, Daniel Voiles, and Ace Garcia, the top 10 here at Kansas.
Here we go, Sonora still losing spots on outside line. He just really can't catch a break. Ever since he was towards the front bound for the lead, he's just kind of been falling down that downward slope on the outside line. I don't really know what it's going to take for him to get him to be able to stick it on the bottom. We're halfway through this race, so it just doesn't look like his car is really coming in for him.
A tough break for Garrett Sonora. This thing is far from over, but another caution would definitely be nice. So a lot of these guys back in from 11th to 15th. You got Alexander Rowe moving his way through the field. Trey Bartow. He almost got that win at Dover a couple weeks ago, but got caught up there by Nathan Baird and lost it to him. Actually finished 3rd. He also lost 2nd to Josh Marzak. But Bart's another one of these guys who hasn't won in a long time. Last win came Boston, season number 5. And that was all the way back in 2016. So it's been 2.5 years for Trey Bartow since his last victory in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. It's been 3.5 years. Actually, yeah, almost 3.5 years for Garrett Sonora. More like 3 months or 3 years and 2 months for him, but it's still been a very long time for Sonora in this series as well. And We keep on mentioning it, and he keeps on failing to win, unfortunately. But we hope he gets a win here soon. He's been doing really good as of late. He's still stuck in this outside lane. But you just never know in this series. The ratings are equal, and a win could come at any time before you know it. McMillan in second, trying to close in on Mitchell Henderson, but he's not been able to do so too well. Henderson doing a great job holding onto the race lead here at Kansas, coming to 24 laps to go in the Code 3 Associates 400.
Walking on wood, we have not run any lap traffic so far. It is a concern of mine because of that wreck we saw earlier in the race, but I'm not sure how much of a factor it's going to be with this one groove racing style. If we can just put those guys on the outside line immediately, we shouldn't have too many problems with getting around. Battle for second, perhaps not quite. Patrick Smith could not make the move.
And one thing we did forget to mention, Lucas Jacobson, the only guy getting knocked out from that accident. Zachary DeLow is still out there. He is currently exiting turn number 4, while Mitchell Henderson and Daniel McMillan are now exiting turn number 4. So they're going to close in on Zachary DeLow before this race is over. You also have Brad Stover, who has fallen off the pace as well. But everybody else, everyone from John Skinicki on up, they are still pretty much running full pace on the lead lap here at Kansas. Mitchell Henderson getting caught up here by Daniel McMillan. McMillan used the draft to his advantage. He's going to poke to the inside. Not going to get it to work there. And Patrick Smith on the outside, trying to make the pass on McMillan up top. Not going to be able to do so, but he'll stay right with the 75 here. And the top 4 right on each other. Henderson, McMillan, Smith, and Roger Ray in the 24. Don't count out the 28 of Nathan Stapleton either. He is right behind these guys. Just a little ways behind in 5th.
Patrick Smith, you can just tell he has a fast car. You can tell it's pretty frustrating for him because he's just not able to get around that 75 car. Not really sure what he's going to need to do in order to change that, though.
We'll have to see. And this is what we were talking about at the top of the show. The tire wear going to come into effect as this race goes along. And that's what we're seeing right now. It is getting a lot harder to make a pass. When earlier on in the race, if we were in this situation, they probably would have made the pass rather easily. But this tire wear is keeping it rather single file right now. Smith's going to try on McMillan here. You got to think here. They're closing in on Zachary DeLello. He is the teammate to both Mitchell Henderson and Patrick Smith. So, you think there might be any teamwork involved when they run into the 67 here in a few laps?
Well, I hope ethics are going to play more into this than sabotage, if you will. I don't anticipate him picking any favorites, but we know teams. We know how drivers act sometimes. They try and benefit their teammates as much as possible whenever it doesn't hurt them. But hopefully, this will be a clean exchange.
Yeah, hopefully it will. And we got 20 laps to go, coming to 19 here at Kansas, closing in on the finish of this race. Mitchell Henderson holding on to the race lead. Patrick Smith's going to try again on Daniel McMillan. Stapleton will finally make a pass. He's got around Roger Ray there for the 4th position. And Patrick Smith might finally have it on Daniel McMillan. And with that, North State Racing is going to go 1-2 here at Kansas. McMillan trying to work that outside lane. He's going to get a little bit of help there from Nathan Stapleton at the line. Patrick Smith will be second on lap 37. This is closing Stapleton right into this battle for second place. And watch out for the 28 to possibly make a move on Patrick Smith. He easily got around McMillan. An easy position there for the 28. But now Stapleton trying to close in on the 66 machine and take the 2nd position away, hoping to close in on race leader Mitchell Henderson. And here we go. Zachary DeLello currently right ahead of Mitchell Henderson. It's the 3 North State guys right on each other. 2 of them are 1-2, and one of them is about to get lapped. Henderson to the inside of the 67. He's going to get blocked by DeLello. Yeah, he's not playing any favorites here. He wants to stay on the lead lap here because if a caution comes out right now, he'll still be on the lead lap, but not going to be the case here. Henderson to the inside. Can he make the pass on the 67? Not quite. Here comes Stapleton for the 2nd position on Patrick Smith, and he might use DeLello as a pick. Not quite.
This is creating a lot of traffic right here. I don't know how it's going to end up going. Oh boy, Patrick Zeig not going to be happy about this one. Neither is the 75. Who can blame him, to be honest? It's hard to be happy whenever an outside force almost puts your shot to win pretty much out the window. I mean, they're going to have to do a lot in these final laps to recover from that.
Yeah, Patrick Smith was running second, got stuck behind his teammate who was a lap down, and lost all of those positions. And now Nathan Stapleton's in the position to possibly get around Mitchell Henderson for the race lead. Henderson's been up front for the past few laps here. Stapleton trying to get a run up top. Not going to really work too well for him. There goes Roger Ray for second. And with these guys going second, or side by side for second, that would slow them down if they went side by side. Not going to be the case. Stapleton's still running up high. He's trying to get the run off the corner to close in on the 25, but I don't know how well it's working for him. 14 laps to go at Kansas. You can't rule out a possible caution coming out in these final few stages. I know we had one really early on, and we've been green ever since. But you never know when one of these guys could slide up to the corner and create a wreck, especially through turn 2. But back to the race lead. Stapleton's trying to keep Roger Ray behind him. He's going to be unsuccessful at it. And Henderson's going to remain out front in the 25. Here comes Roger Ray for the second position. He's going to take it away from the 28. And our pole sitter's back in position to possibly take the race lead again here at Kansas.
And one thing that's a little bit interesting about the lap car is that the structure of the lead pack did not change. We're still pretty much single file. We're still pretty tight racing right now. We're still seeing occasional passing. But Roger Ray, he's going to have
yellow on the racetrack. We got a wreck. Matt Dalio and Christian Master, and this changes everything. It's going to give all these guys an opportunity to get back around the 25 of Mitchell Henderson. I will say, if this thing stayed green, I definitely looked at Mitchell Henderson just pulling away with this thing, but now with all these guys going to restart right on the 25, I don't know if that's going to be the case. Roger Ray, Justin Roberts, Nathan Stapleton, and Ace Garcia, the top 5. We're going to have to see how this all plays out here, and with less than 10 laps to go when we get to the restart here at Kansas. But Matt Dalio and Christian Master getting involved in this one. Tough break for Matt Dalio. It's been a long time for him as well. Season 6 at Rockingham, North Carolina, since his last Chick-fil-A Cup Series win, and his last win on Napafan as well. It's been that long since he's won a race on this channel. Well, that's going to throw a monkey wrench into this one. Mitchell Henderson, the race leader, followed by Roger Ray. Roger Ray was the pole sitter in this race, and he's got a good chance at possibly getting around the 25 here. Who do you think is going to get this win, man? Henderson's been strong as of late, but he's going to have to hold off all these guys behind him.
Roger Ray, he led the early stages of this race. He had a phenomenal restart after the first caution. If he can do the same thing from second place, I like his odds, but Henderson's going to be in the same spot as what Roger Ray was in. If he pulls ahead to a 5-car length advantage, it might be too much for the rest of this field on the final restart.
We're just going to have to find out. First, let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the second caution of the day here at Kansas in the Code 3 Associates 400. Rather interesting accident here. Christian Master in the number 7 running over Matt Dalio. He gets him to the left quarter panel of the 79 and shoots him up the racetrack. That 7 was significantly faster through the corner, and he just ran the 79 over and ended up messing the 7 up as well. Tough break for Christian Master in the 7 and Matt Dalio in the 79. Both of these guys have over 60 race losing streaks here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, and it's not going to end for either of them here today at Kansas.
I think a large part about this was the impatience that was starting to set in, because it's been a frustrating race for a lot of these guys, I'm sure. Very tough to pass. Master might have just decided, I've got to try and bump him out of the way, and it went a little bit too far than what he would have preferred. Both cars crashed and with damage.
It's a tough break for Matt Dalio and Christian Master. They already were kind of deep in the field when that happened. But what that gives us is a restart late in the race. And we're going to have to see if Mitchell Henderson, who has possibly led the most laps in this race because he has been leading for quite some time here at Kansas, we'll have to see if that 25 can pull away with the race victory, or if somebody else is going to come home with the win. We'll have to see. That's all I got to say. I know I keep on saying that because I don't know what's going to happen. So let's go ahead and get to the restart here in the Code 3 Associates 400 from the Kansas Speedway. We are back here at the Kansas Speedway. We will restart with 8 laps to go. Take it back to Season 2 here. That was some finish. Zachary Fitzwater grabbed the victory that season, and they passed for the race lead quite a few times in the closing laps, mainly because they kept on overshooting the corner. The tire wear we got right now, it's very possible Mitchell Henderson does not have the gap he had before the caution came out, so he's really going to have to work hard to not make a mistake here. He's leading the race ahead of Roger Ray, Justin Roberts, Nathan Stapleton, and Ace Garcia. That's the top 5 coming back to the restart. It's 8 to go at Kansas, and Henderson's not pulling away, but Roger Ray went to the outside. And here comes Roberts for the 2nd position.
Very huge for Roberts. He might be able to get to the inside of 25. Henderson's going to block him, though, heading off turn 2.
Justin Roberts holding on to 2nd. Henderson holding on to the race lead. Ace Garcia. That is for the 3rd position. Inside lane's a tough place to be, though, through that corner, and they're going to remain side by side. Justin Roberts, however, is closing in fast on the 25 of Mitchell Henderson, and he might dive to the inside right here for the race lead on lap 49.
I think this is the last battle for the lead we're going to see in this race, but right here, if Roberts is able to get this, that's going to be huge for his chances of winning it. Haven't really seen him at the front all day long. First time I'm really talking about him, I know that's for sure, but Henderson's got clear money outside, it looks like.
Not quite. Roberts trying to work the inside, but he could not hold on, and Mitchell Henderson remains out front here at the Kansas Speedway. It's 6 laps to go in the Code 3 Associates 400. Roberts had to check it up on the inside, and they're just having such a hard time in that inside lane with these worn tires. Ace Garcia clears to 2nd, trying to pull away from Silas Orta, who's moved himself up to the 3rd position. But the big question is, will anybody catch in on Mitchell Henderson, development driver to Stuart Cratton? I believe he's won a race in the Indy Lights series before, but he made a huge jump from Indy Lights to Cup from 2018 to 2019. Taking over Stuart Cratton's ride from 2018 this year. And right now, he's on the verge of his first career Cup Series victory. We'll have to see if he can hold these guys off. Ace Garcia trying to close in, did not get through the corner near as well. The guys behind him, at least. We'll have to see if these guys work together to close in on the 25 in these final 4 laps. Coming to 4 laps to go at Kansas. Garcia trying to work the outside lane to get a run on the 25. It might work. We're just going to have to find out.
Run has to happen in turn 1. We have not seen it happen all day on the back straightaway heading into turn 3. It looks like the guys on the bottom line, they tend to check up a lot entering turn 3. So if it's going to happen, down the front stretch is where it's going to have to happen at.
Ace Garcia is closing in. As long as he stays right behind the 25 to draft him through the corner, he might have a shot at closing in down the front stretch. But Garcia going to fall back just a little bit off the 25 of Mitchell Henderson. And we got 3 laps to go at Kansas for the 25. Silas Orta's going to go for 2nd on the 81, and that just might seal it. Silas Orta's going to have to clear Garcia right here. Garcia going to fall way back. And Orta might have a shot at this one. He got a really good run through the corner. He passed the 81 very quickly, I should say. And with that, he's going to close in a little bit faster on the 25 than what we might expect. Got Alexander Rowe, Roger Ray up here, Garrison Orr, Trey Barcha. They're all inside the top 10, but I don't think any of them are going to have a shot at the race victory. Mitchell Henderson still out front with 2 laps to go at Kansas.
Orta is catching up. How quick can he get there, though? Does he have enough time? 2 laps is not a lot of time, that's for sure. Orta might be in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah, he's got the best shot. I don't think it's going to be anybody else except Orta or Henderson getting this race victory here today. 2 rookies, 1-2 right now here at the Kansas Speedway. We're just going to have to find out. Orta is closing in a little bit. We could be side by side of the line. White flag at Kansas for Mitchell Henderson, trying to grab his first career Chick-fil-A Cup Series victory.
Man, it's just lead entering turns 1 and 2. I don't think Orta's going to be able to get there down the back straightaway. This might be it. Henderson might be getting his win right here at Kansas.
And the tire wear coming into effect very significantly. Orta's going to try up high. He's not going to get it. And a well-deserving victory for North State Racing. Mitchell Henderson wins the Code 3 Associates 400 from Kansas.
As you said, it well-deserved. He earned that one for sure. doesn't just happen by luck that you hold off a bunch of guys that are hungry for the win that are right behind you in the final 7 laps. He didn't have the most ideal restart, had a little bit of assistance from Roberts as he went side by side with Roger Ray entering turn 1. I think that really helped him a lot because that didn't lead to a lot of traffic happening behind him. Either way, still being able to hold them all off to get that win, that's something that cannot be overlooked. Impressive job by Henderson.
Yeah, Mitchell Henderson taking over the legendary Stuart Grattan. Whereas he is a development driver to Stuart Grattan, so technically Stuart Grattan's still in the series. But pretty fitting. Stuart Grattan painted this exact car, and he gets to win with his driver as well here at the Kansas Speedway. Great job by Mitchell Henderson getting the win in the Code 3 Associates 400. How about Salas Orta coming through there to grab second? Justin Roberts, Alexander Rowe, and Roger Ray, the top 5. A great rebound for Garrett Sonor. And, you know, in the tail of the championship, that is going to be significant because Sonor came into this race 8th in the points. He's going to close back in a little bit, and if he can keep these consistent runs going, Garrett Sonor might have a shot at the championship here, so watch out for the 8th-season veteran. He's never won a Napa Fan Championship before, surprisingly enough. He's the all-time winningest driver on the channel, has never won a championship. Ace Garcia, 7th, Trey Bartow, Riley Spurley in 9th, and Daniel McMillan rounding out the top 10 here today. And we only had 2 wrecks in the race, and it only knocked out 1 guy, and that was Lucas Jacobson, who went flipping down the backstretch earlier on in the event. Matt Dalio and Zachary DeLella both finished a lap down in this thing, but everybody else finished on the lead lap here today at the Kansas Speedway. And I think this race turned out pretty good, don't you think? We did not have any pit stops, and it worked to our favor for a good race without any mistakes on the pit lane, without anybody being completely taken of a race victory because they were on the pit lane when a caution came out. That's what happened the first time, by the way, and I just wasn't having it, so that's why we got rid of the pit stops. But great to see a nice normal race here today at the Kansas Speedway.
Certainly went a lot better than the first one I did with the Phoenix in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series earlier this season. I mean, that was a wild race, and not in a good way either. I mean, that was crazy. But we had a little bit of a clean one. We didn't see a ridiculous amount of passing, but saw drivers were able to make passes throughout this race. Starting position did matter a lot. At the end of the day, what it came down to is being able to hold on, manage those tires, get those runs on the outside entering turn 3, and being able to stay side by side with someone through turns 1 and 2 to carry that momentum down the back straightaway. And that's what it took for Mitchell Henderson to get the job done today.
Great job by Mitchell Henderson. His first career Chick-fil-A Cup Series victory. And he's going to shoot through the points a little bit there with that race win. So, next week, I'm excited for this one. It's going to be the throwback weekend in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. As at the time of my recording of this race, we have 20 throwbacks. So, that's pretty cool right there. Half the field with throwbacks. We might get a couple more in for some other guys. Hopefully we will. But either way, it's going to be a great event at North Wilkesboro for the first time the Chick-fil-A Cup Series hitting the historic short track in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that race plays out next Friday night right here on Napa Fan. And then Saturday and Sunday, it's Indy 250 qualifying. Single car qualifying. And you won the Indianapolis 250 2 years ago, so I'm sure you're excited for Indy 250 week. Hopefully you got an Indy 250 only ride. Sign-ups for this past Wednesday, so hopefully you got a shot at it again, because it's cool to see some more Indianapolis 250 winners attempting this year's event. But either way, we got a lot of great stuff coming up this week and next week as well. Indy 250 week's coming up, and I'm excited, and we got a lot of good stuff coming for you here in the future here on Napa Fan. So thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Mitchell Henderson, and here are the point standings for the Chick-fil-A Cup Series after 12 races. On behalf of Luke Rainey, we'll see you guys next week for the Southern States 400 from North Wilkesboro. I will see you guys later.
So transparent you are to me.